All right, guys, welcome back to part two of my OG plants. So, what I have in front of me now is the rest of my plants. I think they're about eight or nine. Just like the last video, what I'm going to do is basically go over them and let you know what has happened to them, if anything has happened to them. But usually, since they are a little bit smaller than a 2 or 3 year old plant should be, then I can tell you that something probably had to happen to them. But let's go ahead and get started. Um, let's go with let's start here. What I have here is an iron plant of mine. I also have the variegated one down in here. I forgot the name of it. Of course, I'm going to place the names up top or down below, or whatever, somewhere on the screen, but I forgot the name of it. But she is growing right there. Finally coming out. They are slow growers. At least I think they are. Well, for me, they are. This plant here is probably maybe about 5 years old. But this plant personally itself is a lot younger, but the mother plant, which is housed at my grandmother's house, is much huger than this here, and that pot is in is pretty big. But that plant itself is about 7, 6, 5. Let's just say 5. It's a good number, okay? 5 years old, and I've had her for that long, and she's still doing pretty good. And for this one here, when I did get a cutting from him, it was probably towards the end of summer last year, and it was these two and another one, but the other one rotted off, and I had to take it out. But this is what the new growth looked like as of far. Again, this is another plant that I love because just with a little extra light and neglect, she grows just perfect. And I actually love this plant. And when they're outside, actually in the element, the leaves are much of a darker green. Right now, they are like in between of a dark green and light green. So, oh look, I'm just wasting dirt. I love this plant, and of course, she's in the OG pile just because the mother plant that I took her from, which is still thriving, is huge. We will get a glimpse at that as well once I do a plant tour over there as well. Let's move on to the next one. Right here are my, I think they're called oxalis or oxtails. I'm not sure. Don't take my word on it, but something of that nature. These plants here I've had her maybe close to 3 years now. Most of the bulbs in here are, I guess, dormant or had to start over. Again, I would try to insert videos. I would try to insert pictures or videos of these before they went haywire. This one here decided to, whatever it decided to do, but one of the neighbors decided to pressure wash, and the extra water just, oh my God. But this is what happened, and this happened towards right at the end of fall, so it was already kind of cool, and most of the plants were trying to transition or adjusting rather, and there wasn't enough heat to actually get this plant back dry, and she really didn't like it at all, and she just threw a complete fit on me. But this is what's left of her, And again, if you look down in the inside, she's still shooting off shoots. So I'll just give it a little bit more time, as I've been doing, and she had to start over again. But there are the two different kinds in here. There's the black kind, and there also is the regular kind as well. But let's just hope once spring hits she takes off again, because the leaves on them were huge, and they're having to start over. But yeah, this is part of the OG collection. Let's move on to the next one. We can go here, which is a Calathea never plant. Not a Calathea, I'm sorry, but a never plant Centenanthe. I think that's how you pronounce it, Centenanthe or Centenanthe. This plant I propagated, as you can see. She got real tall and leggy on me. This plant here, again, of course, is maybe close to 2 to 3 years now. When I first got most of my Calatheas, I had just started my real plant journey, and I didn't know too much about the humidity, how high the humidity had to be for these plants to actually thrive and grow. So I ended up, I don't want to say losing a lot of them, but I lost a lot of foliage, and I had also a lot of the crispy tips that are okay with me, but after a while, if you're not watering the plant or giving it the humidity that it needs, those crispy tips tend to spread down on that leaf, and then eventually you have to cut it or cut the leaf completely off, and I hate doing that. So that's why most of my Calatheas are under the OG built, just because of course I had them for a while, but with me not having the right growing conditions, they couldn't thrive, so they was just living but not thriving. But now that I have the conditions, they are doing a lot better for me. But anyway, this plant, as I said, got leggy, and I was like, well, let me just propagate her, because before I got the things that I needed to keep them together, I didn't want to lose her at all. So I decided to propagate her, and of course I have these here, and she has been growing on all 3 ends ever since. And what I'm going to do, I thought about doing another repot video, which I might do with these just in case, or I might well, I still can do a repot with me video with these, of course in spag eventually, but around springtime, that way it's a lot warmer, and I haven't seen any grow lights that can really compete with full natural sun, so I'll just wait for that to roll around. And like I said, they're doing okay, so there's really no rush into repotting them as of now. But let's keep that in mind. If and when I acquire some more plants, I will have to combine these and give myself a little bit more space. All right, next plant, let's move on. Here is another Calathea. This rattlesnake here, honestly, is a true OG, because it has yet to disappoint me. I got this plant as a gift, and when I got it, it came in maybe a 4-inch or 2-inch pot, and honestly, I've been watching her grow ever since, and the leaves are getting bigger and bigger, and I don't know if you can notice, but there are new shoots coming in as we speak. So hopefully I can get her growing a lot quicker, but with this plant, I'm actually just lucky and glad that she's actually doing pretty good. Not on her own, but she's holding her own, and I'm loving it. The leaves are getting bigger and bigger, as you can see here. She will be a forever OG. She's still growing, still sending out new shoots. Like there's like no tomorrow. So, again, this is my Calathea rattlesnake, and she is on the OG list. Just a gorgeous plant. Look at those backs, guys. That purple. Wow. Okay, next plant I am going to do is, let's do my orchid. So this little orchid, I got it on clearance around the same time, about 2-3 years ago. And of course it didn't come like this, but with me being the project guy that I am, I did a little research on orchids, and of course orchids, they grow on trees and bark in random places. So guess what I found out? So, sorry about that, guys. Camera cut off. But I found outside this piece of wood, and I was like, well, hey. I was sitting down, and it was probably about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, I wonder could I do that? And I was like, well, let's do some research. So I did my research behind it, and come to find out, like I said before, they grow on trees, and I was like, well, let me try this. So maybe follow my Instagram. I did a whole story on her. It's a little piece of wood from a pine tree, so it's like pine bark, slack. And I use, of course, the old trusty fishing line wire, and those are her roots with a little spag as well. During certain times of the day, maybe like once or twice a week, I sit her in a grow tent, so that way these roots here can get a lot of moisture. I don't keep these in the grow tent as often now, just because the flower themselves, they need more light than what my grow lights now can provide them. I've noticed when they were in there, they were thriving, except for the extra stems that seemed to come in after the first sets of flowers. They had stopped growing, and I noticed once I put them back in the bathroom, they started to stretch out again. So I love this plant. I love this setup on it. If I can come across some more, I think I will actually love the natural look of the orchid. I'm really naturally not an orchid kind of guy at all, but this setup here changes your mind once it's in like a natural surrounding, natural kind of environment. If you notice also, some people, they keep their flower stalk going straight up, but again, mine, I guess, was facing the light, and it looks naturally wonderful to me. So again, shouts out to my orchid for being an OG plant, and she is really stunning and showing out. Let's move on to the next one. Sit her back down here. We have 2 more after this one. This one right here is also considered a pride and joy of mine. I say this because when I got this plant, again, when I got this Calathea, she was part of my Calathea journey, and she was nowhere to be found in the U.S. at all. I'm talking, this was during the time on Etsy, eBay, any other Facebook trading group that you can think of. Did not have these guys during the time that I was going through my plant phase. And I found these guys on eBay in China. Yes, China. So this here was my first imported plant about 3, 4 years ago. And when I got her, it was only a node. And of course it traveled for about a few weeks, 4 to 5 weeks. And she got here and it kept its leaf and it's been growing ever since. Now, of course, I didn't have the right conditions for her to thrive, but I'm telling you, you guys, since I've got my conditions for this, for all of my plants, maybe sometime the beginning of last year, they have just been thriving. I was able to propagate this guy and do a lot of tradings for some of my wish list plants. I did a lot of selling as well from this collective network. I don't know if I mentioned it, but and she is just growing, and it is always a shock to me when I see like new growth at the bottom, not just because of she doesn't grow, but it's just the simple fact that you really have to catch these in action, because once they come out, they unfurl and they shoot straight up, and you will miss it literally within a blink of an eye. But of course, this is one of my pride and joys, like I said, from across the world. My Calathea network, the leaves, as you can see, here's my hand, they are getting there. So, some of these here are my older leaves. As you can see, I don't know if you can tell. Let's do a closer look on that. These are some of the rough spots that they acquired on my older plants. But all the younger ones, all the newer growth is doing wonderful. And again, shouts out OG Network. Alright guys, we're going to jump into the begonias. This here, again, started me on my begonia frenzy. This is my cane begonia, the begonia looking glass. I love this. When I say I love this begonia, I love this begonia here. The backs on them, once they get a good enough sun, and that's usually like during the times for me here is like spring, summer, even fall, but winter, the light source is definitely a lot shorter than fall, but you can tell just by the colorage when it had its light potential and when it started to lose its light. This plant is much smaller. I've had it definitely about 3 years now. It was a lot smaller because I did do a lot of propagating, cutting, selling, and definitely trading for some of my wish list plants. And I will show you here. You can see how thick this stem was, so you can only imagine how big the plant itself was. And I had both of them, all of them, and some more here. All of them staked on a metal, yes, it had to be a metal trellis to hold it up. So once this get up to size, as you can see with these, they are in my bathroom, so kind of leaning towards the light. But when they get up to length, I will attach them, and they will grow straight up as well, just like it previously did. And it got up to maybe about 4 feet, guys, and the leaves were massive. Again, I will try to add pictures or videos, but my hand, again, it couldn't even cover the leaf, even if I stretched them out, and I have pretty big hands. So I love this guy to death, and she never disappoints me at all. I would recommend this cane begonia to literally anyone who's able to just not water her, only water her when she's like, look at me, I'm thirsty. But yeah, I love this plant. Shouts out OG Begonia Looking Glass. And last but not least, one of my favorite plants will be the Maranta Silver Band prayer plant. Of course, with your prayer plants or Marantas or Centinthes or Senantes, they all will shoot up at night or at dusk, and of course come back down during the day as and when they get their names, prayer plants, because the leaves go straight up. These here, unfortunately, don't have as much as a pronounced, you can probably see some of that, pronounced burgundy back, like Old Faithful here. Even though, of course, as you can see, it's supposed to be that color. It's only just because of the light, and I refuse to put them any closer to a grow light of mine and mess them up, or even take them outside and let nature's wonderful little creatures attack them. So they sit inside of the grow tent towards the bottom and get enough light just to thrive, but not enough to just overpower the plant, and so that it grows a lot more rapidly than I really want it to. But even though I love it, this here is not its forever home. And once I get around to it, I will show you guys what I am talking about. Alright guys, those were the rest of my OG plants. Thank you guys for coming back for part 2 of my OG plant collection. Look out for another video. I'm pretty sure that will be up and loaded tomorrow. Thank you guys for coming back and supporting my channel. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, down in the comment section, just let me know, you guys, what would you like to see for me to do. I also have a whole bunch of ideas and a lot more things for me to do, but there's nothing wrong with the extra mind at hand. But again, guys, thanks for coming back. I will see you guys on another video. Bye.